Hey everybody, Bill Treadway here. Just want to talk to you about the cryptocurrency markets real briefly and what the latest is. If we look at some of the headlines that are going on, you'll notice that this article here from CNBC states that Bitcoin drops 8% to kick off December. So we're seeing a negative start for Bitcoin in December. But if we look at the other side of the coin, you'll notice that the stock market itself actually starts with its worst start since the Great Depression in 31. You'll see the title of this article says the stock markets is on pace for its worst December since the Great Depression. And as the chart will show you here, the top 10 worst S&P 500 December performances, you'll see that in 1931 it was 14.5% that it fell. And right now, as of 2018, we're at 7.8%. And then the next chart below it shows the top 10 worst December performances for the Dow. And again, in 1931, the Dow dropped 17% in December of that year. This year, it's down 7.6%. So to look at the stock market right now, the way that it is down, and then to go back and look at Bitcoin, which basically is a generic term for the cryptocurrency markets, you're saying that Bitcoin is down 8% in December, but yet the stocks, S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, has their worst start in December at almost the same 8% since the 1931 crash. So that's quite interesting to see. Now, if you consider that, you want to consider that one of the great performances, one of the great movies of the 30s was The Wizard of Oz. And it's interesting to note that The Wizard of Oz, there's one scene here, if you remember the movie correctly, where the travelers, Dorothy and all the friends that she made along the way, they start their trip out to go see the great wizard, the Wizard of Oz, hoping that he can help them to meet their needs. And they get there and they see this great ominous figure there, and fire and smoke and all this, and they're shaking in their boots. And they're wondering what's going on. They are scared to death. And then they go and they ask the wizard for their request, and he makes them jump through hoops to get what they want. So then they come back and they face this same wizard again, showing the same eerie and scary and ominous and powerful face to them. But it takes the actions of the little dog Toto to pull the curtain away from the man who's controlling that big, ominous, scary thing. And he says, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. All of a sudden, the guy who's doing the controlling behind the scenes doesn't seem as ominous as the grand wizard that was portrayed earlier in the movie to them. And yet now they see who's really controlling behind the scenes, and all of a sudden they're not as scared as they were before. Now, if you want to take that, we can parallel that to what's going on in the stock market and in the cryptocurrency market. You have all the mainstream media that is stating that, the Bitcoin is dead, that Bitcoin is not going to come back, that Bitcoin is falling and will never come back again. Well, if we look at the headlines of the day, we'll find out that the headlines are stating something completely different, because what we're getting from the media saying that Bitcoin is dead and that you need to invest in stocks and things of that nature, then we look at these headlines, we're going to see something different going on behind the scenes. We see this one here stating that lawmakers in the United States are looking to change the SEC's 72-year-old securities definition to exclude cryptocurrencies. What they're basically doing is they're looking to try and rewrite that law so that they can include cryptocurrencies in their definitions in the SEC, so that the U.S. government and the country of the United States will not be left in the dust by the other countries of the world who are already on their way to getting cryptocurrency exchanges and markets and banks and systems in line. And the U.S. government does not want to be left behind in all this. So they're making strides to come up with changing this 72-year-old securities definition so they can actually include cryptocurrencies. So we see here in another headline as well that wealth managers are buying Bitcoin. Wealth managers now, the people who are managing these funds, and are buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but they won't advise their clients to do the same, says the retail brokerage CEO. It's pretty interesting to think that you've got wealth managers here that are buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, and yet they're not advising their clients to do the very same thing. Why? Why is that? Why are they not putting that out there for the general public to see yet? Why are they not encouraging them? Well, they're not encouraging them because they're setting up their systems behind the scenes. It's a bait and switch thing. It's a, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain thing. They want to put up that ominous front like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, but yet behind the scenes, things like this are going on here where wealth managers are buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. They're getting into the cryptocurrency market. And then you've got to realize that when you've got some of the largest institutions in the United States buying into cryptocurrencies in the millions and millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency, and they're taking endowments from these universities and they're putting a portion of their endowments into cryptocurrency. You've got MIT doing that, you've got Yale doing that, you've got Dartmouth doing that, you've got a lot of these big named universities putting endowments into cryptocurrencies, and you've got people that are all tied together in the government and in finances and in banking and in these universities, and they're all intertwined together. They know each other, they hang out, they interact with each other, and they know what's going on behind the scenes, but yet they're putting up a face to the general public to say, oh no, stay away, it's not safe, Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin is dying, don't get into it, because these guys are lining their pockets and these guys are getting ready to fill their coffers, and then once they've done and they've gotten the lowest price possible that they can get Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in, then they will open the door and say, oh, okay, now we've worked behind the scenes to get you guys to the point where we've regulated Bitcoin and cryptocurrency so much that now it's okay, it's safe for you to come into the waters. Well, it's safe to come into the waters right now is what I'm saying. These guys are not telling you the whole truth. They're only showing you that Wizard of Oz picture, and they're not showing you the frailty of themselves behind the scenes. Here's another headline that's interesting to note, where it's actually saying that my computer's slow, so we're going to have to forgive me for that. But let's go on to this, see if we get this one to pull up here. Now this one is doing the same thing. Well, we'll have to wait a second until everything pulls up. Anyway, what the next headline is saying that the Bank of England has taken a poll. And their poll, here it is, the Bank of England's poll reveals that XRP and other cryptocurrencies are the most to come. And basically what it says is it said that 23% of people would like cash if they were going to receive a gift at Christmas of money, 8% want a bank transfer, 2% want gift vouchers, and 67% want digital currency. 67% want digital currency over in England. Now that's pretty interesting. For all the hoopla and all the hype and everything else that we've seen out there and all the people saying that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is dead, well, you've got people over in England here that the Bank of England itself has actually taken a survey of, and according to the 6,663 votes that were done, they, at that point right there, their 67% said they wanted digital currency. Pretty interesting. The next headline that we're going to look at, and it's actually not a headline, but it is actually a tweet from Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple. He says, blockchain could prove to be as important to commerce as email and text messaging were to communications. New financial systems built on it could help connect people around the world who lack access to traditional banking. It's quite interesting. This man is very connected with what's going on in the blockchain community, in the cryptocurrency community. He is very in tune with the things that are going on, and he is actually in touch with a lot of these financial institutions and these money services and things of that nature. So he knows what's going on. And for him to state on Twitter that blockchain could prove to be as important to commerce as email and text messaging were to communications. Think back to the dot-com boom and think back to when the internet was first started. A lot of people didn't understand it. But for those who were early investors in it, those who understood it and got in very early and got in before that curve went exponentially up, they made millions and billions of dollars. They got in when the getting was good. And right now, the getting is still good to get into cryptocurrency, because even though the market's down right now, this thing's getting ready to take off. And any day now, we could have that catapult up through the ceiling and go to the moon, as a lot of people are saying, with Bitcoin and the blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies in general. Now, it's interesting to note, too, that blockchain and cryptocurrency and everything, with all the hoopla and all the naysayers and all the people who are poo-pooing cryptocurrency and who are trying to scare the average person out of it to drive the price down, it's interesting that those very same people are the very same ones who have created situations like this that we've read about and we've seen recently and over the last 10 years or so. We find out that there are riots in France, just like you're seeing here. There were cars set on fire. There were guns taken from the police here as they were trying to quell this crowd and to control them. And the people are upset because the rich elite in France have taken these people for a ride and they have done them bad. Now the people are up in revolt. The people of France are revolting because they hate the rich elite and what they've done to them. France riots are fueled by anger at the elites and the rich people. And I don't blame them. The uncertainty and the toll that it took on the markets, the stock market, and it took on the commodities market, and it took on the heart and soul of the American people. And yet the U.S. government continued to bail itself out so that it could stay afloat and could continue to inflate this bubble that we have here. And if we don't watch it and if we don't correct things, then we are going to go down the same road that France did, and the same road that Greece did, and the same road that Venezuela did. So we need to watch out here because we're going down that same road. The next headline I want to show you is from the Greek debt crisis. Greek debt crisis is basically the Greek debt crisis amounted to the point where Greece could not pay its debt. It was ready to default on its debt. And to avoid that default, the EU loaned Greece the money to continue making payments on their loan. So what did the EU do with that, with all the money that Greece owed to them? What did they do to give them a loan? What they did was they printed more paper money. They printed paper money. And that's the problem with paper money. You can print more of it. But the great thing about cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology is that you cannot print more coins. You cannot. You can mine some in the case of like a Bitcoin, but in the case of some companies like XRP or Ripple, who has produced XRP, they have only minted a certain amount of coins, and that's all that there ever will be. Or people lose their ID numbers and can't get into their accounts anymore, the number's going to decrease and the value is going to go up. So it is really a non-inflationary way of dealing with currency. What about Venezuela? Venezuela's crisis drove out millions of people, according to this article here, from their home country. Venezuela's economy, basically according here, is in free fall, hyperinflation. I mean, when you print so much money that, you know, the money is worthless and it means nothing, and you're paying $500, $1,000 for a loaf of bread because the paper means absolutely nothing, then that paper has no value, and the people do not trust the government who's printed that paper. that's why cryptocurrencies are so great, because it's, number one, it's decentralized. Nobody controls it. Number two, the fact that there's only so much there, and you can't print cryptocurrency. You cannot print. Now, there are some companies that are printing, or that are mining their digital assets, and there are other companies that have set a certain amount of cryptocurrency, or of their tokens, to be set out there for the public, and there's only ever going to be that many tokens there, and that is going to drive the value of their tokenization up, and their prices up over time, so that people are going to be freer. They're going to actually be able to have value out of what's going on with cryptocurrency, and they're going to be able to have and use their cryptocurrency, and there's nobody who can really stop them from doing what they want to do. And anybody can check anybody's activity by going to a certain site and seeing what kind of activity is going on, but they cannot get into their store of cryptocurrency. That is only for the person who owns that cryptocurrency. They're the only ones who will have it, and they're the only ones who will be able to buy and sell with it. So my encouragement to you is, if you're not up on cryptocurrency and the blockchain platform, I encourage you to look into it. And as far as it goes, if you want to learn more about the blockchain, continue to follow this website here. Continue to follow my YouTube channel. Check me out on Facebook too, under Bill Treadway, and under ABCs to Wealth. Those are two of the Facebook sites that I have. The information for all this will be below in the description. And then continue to follow this channel here too. Look back on some of the other videos that I've done, and stay tuned for other videos to come in the future. So click the submit button below, and then follow me, and check me out on Twitter as well. You'll find me at Crypto Trailblazer on Twitter. So we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.